Hello everyone, this is Enzo Eigen of the Alliance War Loki, and this is Alliance War number 4, Season 18, against the Deadly Instinct Savage Squad. So, I don't believe we've played them before, but they are Masters Alliance, so of course, always lots of turnover every season, and so more contenders of coming up through the ranks to take us on, and so always a challenge. These young and motivated alliances are always looking to, take down the mighty for Loki. So here we are. Here I am on path 1, so I'm on path 19 again. I'm going against Ghost, and so I bring in Guillotine. Of course, Guillotine's great because she doesn't crit, which makes her really good. This is a Starburst node, so I'm playing sort of like bait heavy style, and you can see I managed to get myself absolutely crushed by one of her heavies. I do this because I want to save my limbos for the very end of the fight, because once she takes a lot of damage, of course the degen is going to be more strong on me from the Starburst, so I'd rather save the 2 or 3 stuns I have, parry stuns I have, for the end of the fight when I can finish her quickly. So my goal here is pretty simple. Of course, I'm just trying to bait out heavies and special. I don't have to worry about critting her because that is what Guillotine's great at. The only interesting thing is I put in degens with a lot of my crit attacks, and for the most part they do the extra damage, but anytime she faces, she'll shrug them off. So I'm actually doing a little less damage than I probably normally would be able to do. Since Guillotine gets all that special bonuses with her combo for finishing with SP3, that's my goal, is to also not die and to finish with an SP3. So I'm trying to be more patient in my fight. A lot of times in war, I'm pretty excited and I want the fight to be over really quick, so I sort of play overly aggressive, and that's definitely has caused me some problems in the past. So even though I'm getting close to the halfway mark and I have her down a fair bit, I do feel like a little bit of pressure to finish the fight, but I really am trying to stay calm and just take it easy with this fighting and go slow and steady. And so everything's going well. I get to where I'm pretty sure my SP3 will finish her off. She's at 14%. I throw my SP3 and it's going to do the job. And so it's a good first fight. Usually this first fight is fairly straightforward. It does cause me a lot of damage. The degen is very real, so I lose almost 50% of my health, and it's just one of these things where you want to play well in this. You don't have to worry too much, but of course the death here would be pretty bad. So there's a fair bit of pressure just from that. So after that, this is my usual pattern. I usually do my fight in S1, and then after that I'm finished for the night. And so this is actually the next morning. I wake up and my alliance mates have cleared out everything, and I'm off to path 9. So this is one of my most interesting fights of the season. This is against a rogue. So rogue is control, and of course on this path I really only use Mysterio and Emma. It's cool to get to use those 2 characters just because of course they're not used that much anymore, but they are on this path. And so every time I crit her, she's going to gain an SP, she's going to gain a power gain. So I put on an invulnerability boost, just figuring I could, push her to an SP3, and then right away I lose it because again, she shrugs off the debuff from my parry stun really quick, and I sort of was trying to see if she was stunned, and I waited, and she stunned me back and hit me, and the 3-hit combo took away my indestructible, so there goes my safety net. So I'm really a little bit worried. Then I get backed up into the corner. I'm trying to parry her, I push her to an SP2. I'm thinking, oh my god, this is terrible. And then I decide to throw my SP2. The cool thing about his SP2 is that it's a power drain. And so you can see the way she just can't quite get to that 3rd bar power. And right when that runs out, I have enough to throw my SP1, which I do, and it kills her. So, oh man, I think I would have survived the SP3, but that was a pretty nerve-wracking fight. And that was one of the things I was pretty happy about, was a quick decision to use the SP2 and get the power gain. So that's sort of, I think, is one of the most important things about being able to be a good warfighter, is being able to deal with sort of adversity the best way possible. And so that worked out well. My last fight of this war is against a Nick Fury. This placement is okay. The problem with this is you get to go in with Emma. She's a mutant, and of course mutants have a nice advantage over Nick Fury in that I think they reduce his tactical charges to 25% success, and so that's really nice. And then the other thing, of course, is that it's a pretty straightforward fight with one of the 2 champions you're going to use on this. So there's nothing really I have to worry about on this fight. Again, I just play it very normally. I think Nick Fury probably would be better served elsewhere on this map than this. Maybe if you came in with different characters, he'd be good on this. I'm not sure. Of course, you want Nick Fury somewhere on the map. So you can see here I get him down to 2%, and then I finally get him into a second life. The second life, I like to get the SP2, so that's why I'm just sort of holding the block and baiting out the heavy, just because the SP2 is so much easier to deal with. Usually he's unblockable by now because I'm using a character that's not a mutant, but in this case it didn't matter too much, but still he's unstunnable, so bait out the SP2, get my own SP2 and absolutely crush him. And so that fight went very, very well. Again, it was one that doesn't really require too much special play. You can just play very much as normal. So that's the end of my fights for this war. So I do remain deathless, which is one of my goals. Again, I'm not on a very challenging path, but the best thing I do is be deathless this season. And so now at the end, it's really interesting to watch. So after I clear my path, basically the whole alliance moves into action. So this is about 6:30 in the morning, Geneva time. It's about midnight 30 on the east coast of the United States, and 9:30 on the west coast. And so we all move into action. So everyone's boosting. We have Taz in fights. We have Dreamin' going. We have Brett. We have, I believe, Taters and TJ. And so we all are doing our fights, doing our clears. So that way we can all get to the boss island about the same time, and we're all boosted. And so this way we are coordinating. And it's a really cool thing about For Loki. We do a really good job of figuring out everyone's schedules, coordinating well, and then going through so we don't have to use extra boost and reboost for fights. So it's one of the, as I say, the most impressive things about being in For Loki is having this sort of like coordination, and it just makes it so cool that we all are able to commit to this. And then the last piece is Brett King, so he comes and waits for everyone to finish. He goes through and he does his last fight, and that takes care of all the links to the boss. It's a visual area, he's unlinked, and then we send in Pete, and then Pete goes and does his fight, and it's done. And so a little bit of special treat, I do have Pete's final fight against the Dormamu mini boss. It's incredible. This is a rank 3 6-star Dormamu, which is pretty tough, and he's control, which means he will gain a lot of power every time you crit. So you can watch Pete's strategy. So he's just doing one hit, he activates the control, and of course he's going to try to bait all the specials when he can, which he does, and then he gets his SP2 and throws that. So the interesting thing about his SP2 is, of course, he has on the power boost. So he estimates the SP2 does about 14% damage, and then the tech power boost gives him 200% of that back. And so that means every time he's getting about 28% of a bar of power. So here he throws it again, and this is perfect. Now Dormamu has SP3. He, of course, phases the recoil, and then as an extra bonus, he gets to phase the SP3 too. So as usual, unbelievably clever fighting by Pete, and he takes no damage, and now he's back to the same thing. So he gets the SP1. He phases the hit, throws his SP2. He just has to block this, which does a fair amount of damage, and then he is just waiting for his moment. And same thing now, SP2, and then he's just going to phase the recoil, and then he's going to tank the SP3. So very, very clever fighting by Pandaman. He is taking a lot of damage. So when he's phasing, the degen doesn't affect him, but every time he comes out of phase, you can see the degen starts hitting him. So gets him to 1%, oh, so close, and then he finishes him out so quickly. So an incredible fight as always by Pandaman. And so this is one of the cool things about For Loki. I mean, we have so many genius players in our lines that go on these like incredible, they can take these incredible fights and just do everything right. I mean, he had to do everything right to get that boss solo, and he did, and that's often the norm for Pete. So incredible job, Pete. We did win this war. Thank you very much to the Deadly Sniper Savage group. Sorry, I think I've forgotten your name. They fought very well. We definitely are right now sort of a 15 to 20 death alliance, and so I know most alliances watch all my videos and probably understand that. So once they get above 20, 25 deaths against our defense, they know that they're probably not going to win. But overall, it's great. I mean, all the competition is strong. They all place good defenses. They all do very well. And yes, what life is like in Masters level Tier 1 Alliance War. So I hope everyone enjoyed this video. We'll be back very soon for War number 5. Bye-bye.